Describe this episode in one word.
It's giving toxic.
I couldn't even get it out. Hey everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm Neiko.
And I'm Janisse.
And of course, we love Married at First Sight, MAFS, for everybody who's a real fan. But today we're going to talk about Season 5, Season 14. Season 14, Episode 5. It's a short thing?
Yeah, it's not a short thing.
I think of Miguel when I hear that.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not a short thing. Yeah.
We're going to talk about that today. So first and foremost, let's talk about they're on pretty much day 2 of honeymoon. This is like the day 3 of honeymoon. So everything was seeming to kind of go okay, but I feel like this episode really kind of took the turn of things just started going bad. For some of the couples that I thought were actually okay have now turned to kind of be like, train wreck. So let's start off. Who we starting off with this week?
We got to start off with Lindsay and Mark.
Okay, Mark to start.
We're coming in strong. We're coming in hot.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Lindsay and Mark have had a rocky start.
Yeah.
More so because of Lindsay and, just her mouth and saying things that probably shouldn't be said. So, Lindsay and Mark are still recovering from the whole backlash from the airport situation, the airplane situation with Olajuwon and Katina. They thought they were on a good track and all was forgiven, but then Lindsay started running her mouth again. So they took a boat trip and Lindsay pretty much was playing the victim card and was saying, I just felt like it took me back to this abusive relationship that I was in. And I just felt so threatened. And Katina was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna cut you off right there. You did this to yourself. Like, I don't care about what happened to you back in the day. You're too old for that. Get some therapy, get some help. You're too old for that. Don't you made this situation for yourself.
First of all, she called her 35 on the show, but she's actually 34 in real life right now. So that was number one. She had that wrong. I would have corrected her on that, my personally self. But I think those two couples are intertwining in their storylines, I guess, if you could say.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like the second or third episode that they've been kind of talking about that same situation that happened at the airport. I just wish Katina would let it go. I feel like Olajuwon always, I will give him props on this, and we'll talk about them a little later, but I feel like it's time to let that go. If your husband has decided to move on and kind of like get over that and keep telling you that this is not going to ruin our honeymoon, this is not going to ruin our marriage, they don't really matter, yada, 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 then she keeps going back. But I do like the fact that she took up for him when he's not around. So I appreciate that.
And he said the same thing too. And like I said, I will say, we're going to talk about them more later, but I will say I do love how Olajuwon like squashed that whole thing. Like when Katina brought it up at their date, like she was like, yeah, this is what happened. He was like, we're going to stop that right there. We're not going to give no time to them.
He cut it off.
And I was like, good for you. It's like what was done was done. Y'all had your conversation. Thank you for having my back. But we're going to move forward. We're not going to give them any more time. I was like, good for them.
Right. Now, let's talk about Mark and Lindsay. Now, for me personally, it was the dinner scene. It was the dinner scene. Now, after hearing everything that happened, of course, Lindsay talked about how they had sex multiple times before. I think 4 times before, something crazy like that day.
It was like 3 times.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times that day. And then they went on a romantic dinner, only to hear Mark say he want to slow down. Now, I will say this. In defense of Lindsay, I absolutely, and Katina actually said this on the after party with Keisha Knight Pulliam.
Right.
In defense, she has a point.
Yeah.
Because you can't get somebody's feelings so wrapped up. In the moment, having sex with them is an emotional tie. You cannot do that and then go to dinner and be like, I think we should fall back. We should still have sex, though.
No, he didn't say that.
But that's what he means.
No, he didn't.
He's not going to stop having sex with her.
No, he said he wants it to be a little more romantical. So he was like, let's fall back. No, actually, he said, let's not do the romance stuff. Like, he was like, let's just fall back some. Let's really get to know each other.
So why would you have sex with somebody right before dinner if you already knew you were going into the dinner and you were going to say, let's fall back? To me, that's hella confusing.
I think originally I thought that this was like a drunken sex type of situation because they were drinking all those pina coladas
3 or 4 times though. No,
right,
but you can't blame it on her.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But once I found out on the after party where Lindsay said, no, we literally had sex 3 times that day. But we do know Lindsay to be fabricating the truth because she tried to go back and say also that she didn't claim she was threatened by Olajuwon. She was threatened by Katina. And Katina was like, no, that's a whole lie because no, you said you were threatened by him. Like, so I think she switches her words in the moment. But either way, Lindsay definitely felt some type of way blew up his spot all the way on national television. Like, oh, so you want to take it back? I'm going to take it all the way back. How about this?
All the way back 2 days ago?
Stop pooping with the door open. How about you stop farting in the bed? I was like, oh, you just blew him up all the way. How about you stop stopping up the toilet? I was like, oh, you really went there. Like, she was really upset about the fact that she didn't get this romantical dinner that he had promised. And so she felt some type of way about it.
So let me ask you this. Where do you think their relationship goes in the next episode? Because in the next episode, we see the couple start to get out and do adventurous things. And each couple is doing adventurous things. So what do you think this takes them in episode 6?
I mean, of course, in the teaser, they showed them kissing. That means nothing because that could be 1 minute and then they're cold the next. But I think
Which is crazy because he just say slow down and less affection. But I don't know.
I don't know either. I think Mark he was honest, and I don't think she wanted to hear it, but I think he was honest and just saying, look, this is a lot. We are going through a lot. It's only day 3. You've already gotten into 2 altercations. I'm trying to get to know you, but I can't get to know you because you over here popping off at the mouth to everybody. So he's just like, let's take time and get to know each other. She didn't want to hear it. But she's just like wanting to go hide and
I don't think she was popping off at everybody. I think her and Katina have little tiffs here and there, and then old girl don't really care for her either. But,
Alyssa, yeah.
So I don't think that. I just, the whole emotional attachment, emotional connection thing, I'm just curious to see what it leads to in the next couple episodes. I want to see if Mark's going to hold up to his word and be less affectionate. So
I think he just wants to like slow it down a little. I don't think he wants to stop it all the way. But I do say Lindsay is a victim of she's poking the bear. Like that whole situation, she pokes the bear and then she wants to play the card whenever, whenever it blows up in her face. But,
all right. Who we talking about next?
All right. Up next, we are talking about Noi and Steve. Now, this I think definitely through editing and just their personalities is slowly becoming probably a favorite couple of a lot of people. They seem to be pretty level-headed, very sweet people. I did find it interesting that during their Never Have I Ever game, that Steve was the first one to like lose all his fingers. I'm like, wait, Steve would have put a finger down for everything.
But Steve travels, so Steve has lived. You know what I'm saying?
It's the murder and the cheating for me.
I don't really think that was murder. I think we need to go back and look at that. I'm pretty
Maybe
sure
it was a joke.
Nobody would admit on national television with as much viewers as MAFS has of murdering somebody.
But the questions that were out there were murder, cheating, arrested. Like, I was like, dang, Steve, you done lived all the way. But he did explain the cheating later on. Him and Noi both put a finger down for cheating. And they had the conversation where they talked about, they were young. They didn't know how to voice their opinions to their partners at the time and wind up stepping out of a relationship and felt really bad about it and learned how that really affects the other person. So good for them for having those open and honest conversations. I do feel like Noi's doing a little much with, I think it's okay for her to tell him, I'm starting to fall in love with you. I'm starting to catch feelings with you. That's fine. Like, because you're not saying you are, but to expect him to say it in return, it's like, girl, stay 3. Like, y'all literally, if y'all got married on a Friday, it's Monday. You can't expect somebody to realistically start catching those feelings just because you are. Like, I think there's chemistry there, but like, girl, don't push it. Right. Let it flow.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I think that she's pushing it a little too early. I'm glad that she's being upfront and honest, but you can't expect the other person to feel the same way. But he is letting her know that he is on that road, which is good because there's sometimes when you see one person that's head over heels for the person, and the other person's like, I don't really know if I'm feeling like So I think they'll be all right. I'm waiting to see their first big disagreement because it's going to be interesting to see because they're both mild-mannered and it's going to be very interesting to see like who pops off, who like submits, who's the more aggressive one, and then but I think they're going to be fine.
I think when they do finally consummate their marriage, I think like Noi's going to be like
and really dig into the whole job thing. But I think that's going to happen when they move in together because once you start moving in together and that's when everybody clicks finances and things like that, bills, and then that's when all that is going to come. And I think that is going to be their biggest test of the season. So next, who we talking about?
How they deal with that. All right. Next up, Katina and Olajuwon.
Okay.
So.
Oh boy.
These two right here, like I said, Katina is fire at times, and she definitely brought the fire today.
I like Katina. I like Katina. One of the reasons why I like Katina is, and we spoke about this. I brought it up. Is the fact Katina talks about God often. She drops little godness things. She was like, one of the things I was praying for is this thing, and I really do feel like she is a no nonsense type of woman, and I think that's what Olajuwon needs. I think that he needs somebody who's strong. She seems like a very strong woman, and I think that she's not going to let him run over her. and do the crazy things that what's his alter ego?
Isaac.
Oh
yeah, Isaac showed up.
She was like, I like how you just like go over Isaac like it never happened. Like he'll talk about Isaac, but he's very much so like, oh yeah, that was Isaac. Oh, next thing, like let's keep pushing.
No, yeah, he wants to put Isaac in the past, close the door, lock it, and shut it down. So, but a little bit of Isaac came up in this episode during the game of Never Have I Ever. Elijah Wan asked some real out there questions, and one of the ones that really put himself out there was when he asked the question, has anybody ever slept with somebody and then slept with another family member? And everybody's like, what you mean? Like a cousin or something?
So this is their faces right here.
He broke it down.
Look at Noy's face. Look at Lindsay's face. Look at Mark. They all look concerned like, Katina girl?
No, the face was because he admitted that he slept with the mother and the daughter.
But that's what I'm saying.
They both knew it. Like that was the face of, say what now? Come again?
And the fact that he said it was a great experience after that.
Right.
Like, so he kind of like jumped on and said, oh yeah, I did it. And it was a great experience. Like you wouldn't expect somebody to say something like that. But their faces told it all. And I was just like, I think even Lindsay was like, thank God I'm out of the hot seat with this one because this is just crazy.
Yeah, he also admitted that he's had a threesome, was very quick to divulge that information, and also said that if his wife was open to having a threesome, then he'd be down for it. You know, he ain't gonna turn down another person.
And Katina later said that she is down. She's not down with sharing her husband.
Oh yeah, no, she shut that down real quick.
She's not down with that. So I will say I misjudged Katina. It's only episode 5, but when they played her little backstory and it was like, oh, get to know Katina and stuff like that, I thought Katina was a stripper. So I thought she was gonna be down with it.
No.
She has stripperness looks.
No. Katina gives me bottle girl in the club. Katina is not no stripper. Katina is the cute one that comes out with the sparkle bottle and the thing on the top. Like, hey y'all, it's party time. Here's your bottle of Ciroc. Like, that's Katina's vibe. Like, and yeah, I think that she's definitely a sweet person, but I just feel like the whole way that she handled that situation with Lindsay on the boat was like, it was very immature. Like, I get it. You're still in your feelings about the situation. It's still very fresh. But at the same time, the way that she really just like, no, this is how you should, and I don't want to hear nothing else about it, and I'm walking away.
Yeah, like, it's that's the thing. You have to allow somebody else the opportunity to speak. We're grown. Like, you just told this lady she's 35 when she's 34, 30-ish years old. But then and another thing, it's all the finger.
Listen, you can't pull that with no black woman. I'm sorry. You tried it with
You can't do that with anybody. I mean, with any black person in general. Because a man is going to be like, get your hands out my face. Yeah, go somewhere. Because that's not okay. So, like, you can't. I just hope this is the last time we actually hear about that. Because I feel like it should be over and done at this point. Especially if one person in a relationship is done with it. Then let it go. And then, of course, if it happens again, then you address it. But if it doesn't, then let it go.
It was nice to see the sentimental moment between the two of them. Olajuwon set up their romantic dinner, and then he set up the room afterwards with the rose petals, the candles, all the things like that.
He got emotional, about to start crying.
Right. He's breaking down in tears. She's breaking down in tears during her confessional time, just talking about how she never thought she could find a love like this, and how, just happy she is and feels like, this is helping her to start to build that connection with him. He was massaging her feet, massaging her, all this stuff like that. Trying to set it up, that when we say he was trying to GTD, that's what we thought he was trying to do.
Get the draws,
right?
Get the draws.
Elijah was pulling out all.
He pulled out all the stops. I feel like he was coming on really heavy.
Yes.
But I guess she liked it. I guess so.
I just wish he would talk less. Like, I'm fine
he does talk a lot.
if you want to massage
too much
my
concern
feet.
me though.
Right, because it's like, why? Maybe he just doesn't like awkward silence. I don't know. But you're just talking so much. It's like you massaging my feet. You're like, yeah, girl, I want you to be my queen, girl. Yeah, we gonna build an empire. We got this beautiful black love. It's
black love.
Right, I'm like, sir, just shut up. Just play some music and just massage my feet and leave me alone.
I'm sorry to like Elijah, but he does talk a lot. And people who talk a lot, for me personally, I feel like they are trying to compensate for.
It's coming on really strong. And then there was one other thing I noticed. He said he deleted his Instagram.
Yeah. Go look.
I'm not looking. I'm not going to go find it because, they're all probably private and blocked anyway. But my first initial thought when he said that was, you trying to hide the receipts. That's your way to burn the receipts. Because why is there a reason for you to delete your whole Instagram? Like,
he's
that's
starting fresh.
Too much. Like, that's too much. Yeah, that's what he says. But I think he know that his Instagram, if you went to his feed right now, it'd be a bunch of booties. It'll be a bunch of old strippers, like DMs blowing up. Like that's what he was like. Let me just throw this whole Instagram away.
Just like all the way. Let me start over fresh.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting a day for them, but I think they're building that connection. Right. Katina did confirm on the after party they did not sleep together that night, which I was surprised because it looked like he was trying to go there. Yeah. But I'm glad that she's really persistent about just taking it slow, and really getting to know him and not getting caught up too early. Right.
So in the next episode, I know they horseback ride, and Katina is not a big fan of that. So we're gonna see what happens with that. I was gonna say something so bad. So we're just gonna keep it going.
No, I will say one more thing about them. The whole him really pushing her during the workout time
was weird.
And then apparently I guess he was pushing her during the whole horseback riding. Yeah, it's again, Elijah, just hush. Just let the moments be. Don't do too much. And she said he's aggressively affectionate, aggressively not affectionate, but trying to just put it on. It's just
it's a lot for me. Okay. It's a lot for me, but okay, we're gonna see what happens. Right. Next couple.
All right, next couple on the list, Jasmina and Mike. Right. We both
listen, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was a big fan of theirs. I'm still a big fan of theirs. I just think there's so many underlining things that, like you said something last night watching the episode that really. I think made a lot of sense. You said what was it that you said? You said they do tick for tack. It's kind of like, goodness, what did you say?
I think with them, they're making mountains out of molehills. I don't think that's what I said last night, but I think they're making mountains out of molehills, and it's they don't know how to just take these situations. You don't have to win every battle. I just feel they're she had the big blow up the other episode about conflict and how they handle conflict and how they approach conflict. And then in the beginning of this episode, they talk about that situation, and she talks about how she was kind of off put by what his sister said about him, kind of being a more negative person, or, what he calls a realist or whatever. Yeah. And so I thought okay, great. We've squashed that. We've handled that. We're moving forward. Everything's going to be good. And then we ended right back up where we started.
With them, everything is a issue. It's the smallest, you said, it's the smallest things. They don't know how to, and I will say this, watching last night's episode, I will say that, what's his name? I'm sorry. Mike was, it's something aggressive inside of him. He comes across very he doesn't seem like I'm gonna beat you up type of person, but he's very with his words. He's very he can come at you the wrong way if you don't understand his language. And I think that's what, because she kept saying the way he speaks, he can come across very this is what it is. And every time somebody does something like that, I always kind of feel like this, it's a hint of a little controlling. But it shocks me because he has sisters, and a lot of them. But he says that his sisters also tell him about that. Yeah. And I hope that he says that he want to nip that in the bud so that when they get back to Boston, that it's not an issue. I'm rooting for them. I just think they got some communication issues. I think once they get over those, I think they'll be fine. Besides the whole him not wanting to live in the moment, him being afraid that something bad is going to happen. Yeah. I think that is a big thing for her, because she don't want to be walking around we can't go on a vacation because you're going to feel like something's going to happen. Preparing for the worst.
I don't think he's that type of person. He doesn't give me worry vibes. Yeah. I think, like he explained it, again, I'm glad they had this conversation of how much loss he's really dealt with. Just losing both his mother and his father and his grandmother and several close friends brother. And his brother and so many different losses that he's had in his life just make him view life differently. And I get that. As a person that's lost both of my parents, I can get that it changes your view of the world. When you've gone through that amount of grief so much. So I was glad they were able to have that conversation. But obviously their big blow up towards the end of the episode was how when they were on the boat and somebody had asked a question about whether they consummated their marriage yet, Mike stepped in and answered the question, and what I thought gave a full answer and finished his answer, and then Jasmina came in and said her 2 cents about, you know, them wanting to build a emotional connection. Apparently, Mike did not like how she came in and said what she said and felt like he was being cut off.
Yeah. And I don't think that is, when we watched it back, I don't feel like that was a legit reason to be upset. Like we kind of demonstrated like what a cutoff looks like. That was not a cutoff. She was just saying
a cutoff is I'm gonna let you finish. Like it's a Kanye. That's a cutoff. That's what I'm saying.
That was a good cutoff. And I'm offended. So if she did that,
she did it.
I could understand how Mike feel, because that right there, I felt like
you're right. But she didn't do that.
Yeah, she didn't do that. But, you know, it was a very much so, hey, I want to wait till I have an emotional connection to someone. And I felt like by the time she said that, Mike had already said a bunch. So if he gets upset about that, that is concerning. And I think to her, that is what concerns her, because she doesn't seem like the type that is a yes woman. Like she doesn't just want to sit there and let the man speak for her when she has a mouth of her own. So if that is what he's upset about, you tripping. Like he's tripping. That wasn't even worth it.
I think they both were having different things they were upset about. He was upset about the fact that she cut him off, and then he didn't like the fact that she didn't sincerely apologize or seem sincerely sorry about the situation. He was expecting a really sincere and authentic apology. She didn't really give that. And she was upset about the fact that he was making such a big deal of this, and how he talked to her dealing with the situation, like how he was very aggressive after the fact, and how he confronted her about this. And so, like, again, it's just like, you guys are just, if y'all can get past these communication things and just get past these little situations, like, I'm concerned how you're going to handle the big ones. How are you going to handle if, like, one person wants to have 2 kids, the other wants to have 1?
Right.
Or, you know, like, finances.
Y'all didn't even get into the big stuff yet.
Right.
I will say this. I agree with Mike on this. I don't like when people say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Because she was like, that's what people say. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make it right, because people say it. You have to officially apologize. Say, hey, I apologize for my tone, or I apologize for if you felt like you were cut off. That was not my intentions. Right. You can't just say, I apologize, you feel that way. Next. Right. Because he felt like it was dismissed. Like he wasn't heard. And I think that's what he feels like. He wasn't right in the fact that she cut him off, because she didn't. But he didn't feel heard. And I think like if she had communicated better, like I just did, and say, hey, I apologize that you felt that way. And I apologize that you felt that you were cut off. That wasn't my intentions. Right. So let's work on a better way, and if we're in this situation again, how we can handle that and how we can work through it. Because again, people, you got to understand, these people just met each other. Yeah. So you have to give yourself grace. You have to give the person grace, because at the end of the day, they don't know you. Right. So yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right. So last but not least is Alyssa and Chris. I don't know how we always want to save them for last, but I mean, you know, just the part of the show where he was in the water. She was talking about the mom. She was like, my mom. My mom saying I am doing too much and I just need to go, and I feel like the producers were real shady for getting that footage, because the producers are doing their job. They are, but you could tell that was not no like official camera. That was like she started talking, and old dude producers like down here with the phone like. Keep talking, Alyssa. What your mama had to say, like your mama trash. Like, no, I even think he wasn't even her face. Like, you can tell the ankles real down low. Like, you can't catch nothing but chin and stomach right now. Like, it was. I don't know, but I mean, Alyssa. It was funny because Lindsay pointed out in the after show, like, or the after party, like anybody that has to keep coming out and saying how nice of a person they are, like a nice or good person is like, girl, are you really? I cannot wait until Alyssa sits in front of Dr. Pepper. Oh yeah. Dr. Cal and Dr. Juliana. Pastor Cal and Dr. Juliana. Because she has been saying they didn't do a good job. Viviana. Ramsey. She was saying that they didn't do a good job. She says that a lot of the other couples, at least they are attracted to each other. At least they can have good communication. At least there's some type of of foundation. She doesn't feel like she has that. So I'm excited to see when she gets in front of them, because I feel like it's going to be her standing strong on y'all did me dirty, and then them saying you are here for a reason, because all the other guys that you picked in the past have not been good for you. So we went with somebody who can be good for you, but you're not even giving them the opportunity.
They're going to say all those things, but she's not going to care. She's going to run off and cry.
Yeah.
And she's going to play the victim.
She got a long 8 weeks.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be long. Like,
especially when they move in together.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, that's not happening. This woman can't even stay in the same room with this man on the honeymoon of all times where you should be willing to stay and make it work.
Right.
There's no way she's going to be able to live in the same place as this man and then for them to make it work. But I will say this. After seeing Chris's body with the shirt off, I was like, if she wasn't attracted to him before, she definitely ain't attracted to him now. Like, I was like, ugh, you could at least get a tan, man. I mean, you got the mom boobs going. You got the t-shirt tan.
Mom boobs.
Yeah, you know, like
worse.
mom, man, whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, it's hard for anybody to be attracted to that. He's a good guy, sweet guy.
Yeah, seems like a really good guy. So, yeah, we're gonna see. I don't know. It's only episode 5, and I'm just. When they get back to Boston, I feel like this is going to be a hot mess. They're going to have to get them 2 apartments, but we're going to see. Thank y'all for joining us for another roundup of MAFS, Married at First Sight. This is episode 5 of season 14. Mm-hmm. Boston. We will be back next week to do it all over again for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. That's right. Make sure you subscribe so that you know when our next video pops up, and give us a thumbs up if you like what we had to say. All right, and comment. We want to hear what you got to say about these crazy couples. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Till next time. Peace.